It started like any other flight. A calm sky, a smooth takeoff. Passengers relaxed, unaware of what was waiting ahead. Minutes later, flames, screams, and metal tearing through the clouds. The plane crashed into the heart of a dark forest. And from the wreckage, only one man opened his eyes. This is his fight for survival. The sky was calm that morning. A silver plane sat on the runway, its engines humming softly, ready to take off. Passengers were boarding, men in suits, women with tired eyes, children holding toys, and strangers who barely noticed each other. Among them was Daniel, a 27-year-old man with quiet eyes and a heart full of dreams. He had taken this flight to escape a broken chapter of his life and start fresh somewhere new. The cabin smelled of coffee and leather seats. People murmured, fastened seat belts, and settled in. The flight attendants smiled politely, giving instructions. The captain's voice came over the speaker, deep and steady. "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready for takeoff. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight." The plane rolled forward, faster, faster, then lifted into the sky. For the first hour, everything seemed normal. Daniel gazed out of the window, watching the thick carpet of green forest stretch endlessly below. It looked peaceful, like a painting. No one could have guessed what was coming. It began with a faint jolt, just a shake, so small that most passengers ignored it. But then came another, and another. The cabin lights flickered. A child cried. A woman whispered a prayer under her breath. Suddenly, a voice crackled through the speakers. The captain again, but this time, his tone was different. Not calm, not steady. "Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated. We are experiencing unexpected turbulence." The plane shook violently. Oxygen masks dropped from the ceiling. Gasps filled the cabin. Trays of food tumbled, coffee spilled, luggage shifted overhead. Daniel gripped the armrest so hard his knuckles turned white. The engines roared louder, like thunder tearing the sky apart. Then, a deafening explosion. The left engine burst into flames. People screamed. The plane tilted sharply to the side. The captain shouted something no one wanted to hear. "Brace for impact. Brace. Brace." Daniel bent forward, pressing his face into his arms, his chest tight with terror. The plane nosedived, plummeting through clouds, rattling, breaking apart. The sound was unbearable, metal screaming, glass shattering, hearts pounding. Then, darkness. A roar. A crash that shook the earth. And silence. When Daniel opened his eyes, everything was still. The air smelled of smoke, fuel, and burning metal. He was lying on damp soil, surrounded by twisted pieces of the plane. His head throbbed. Blood trickled from his forehead, but he was breathing. He sat up slowly, coughing, calling out, "Hello? Can anyone hear me?" Silence. All around him lay broken seats, shattered wings, fire licking at the wreckage. But no voices, no movement. Daniel stumbled through the wreckage, his chest heavy with dread. He looked for survivors, anyone. He called again, louder, his voice echoing into the vast forest. "Hello?" Only the forest answered, birds fleeing into the sky, the crackle of flames, the whisper of wind. One by one, Daniel checked bodies. Some passengers lay still, eyes closed forever. Others, beyond recognition. He fell to his knees, shaking, tears burning his eyes. He was the only one alive. The forest stretched endlessly, dark and dense, swallowing the wreckage. Tall trees loomed above, their shadows heavy. Strange animal calls echoed in the distance. Daniel's hands trembled as he searched the wreckage for supplies. He found a half-burned backpack, inside it a bottle of water, a lighter, and a small packet of biscuits. It wasn't much, but it was all he had. Night came quickly. The forest grew colder, darker. Every sound felt closer, the rustle of leaves, the snap of twigs, the howl of something unseen. Daniel built a small fire using broken pieces of the plane. He sat beside it, shivering, staring into the flames, whispering to himself just to break the silence. "Stay alive, Daniel, just stay alive." The next days were a battle. By day, Daniel searched for food, wild berries, roots, anything edible. He drank from a stream, his stomach twisting with hunger and fear. By night, he fought against the darkness. Strange eyes glowed in the trees. Wolves? Big cats? He didn't know, but he felt watched, hunted. Each night, he clutched a sharp piece of metal from the wreckage like a weapon, praying the fire would keep the beasts away. His clothes grew torn, his face pale, his body weaker. But his will to live grew stronger. On the 5th night, exhaustion broke him. He began to hear voices, whispers in the wind, the cries of the passengers he could not save. He saw faces in the shadows, children, mothers, strangers he barely remembered from the flight. They reached out to him, silent, accusing. Daniel screamed into the darkness. Why me? Why only me? His voice echoed, but no answer came. One afternoon, while searching for food, Daniel heard something strange, something he hadn't heard since the crash. A sound, a deep, distant rumble. He froze. His heart raced. He knew that sound. Engines. He stumbled into a clearing, waving his arms frantically at the sky. Above, far away, a rescue plane circled. Hey, I'm here. Help! Daniel screamed until his throat burned. But the plane kept moving, disappearing into the clouds. Hope slipped from his fingers like water. He collapsed on the ground, sobbing, his chest shaking with despair. But deep inside, a fire still burned. I will not die here. I will not. On the 10th day, Daniel was weak, barely able to stand. His lips cracked, his body thin. He lay by the wreckage, staring at the sky, whispering to himself. Just one more day, one more day. Then, the sound again. Engines. But this time louder. Closer. Daniel forced himself to stand. He grabbed a piece of reflective metal from the wreckage and waved it toward the sun. The glare flashed like a signal. The plane above slowed. Tilted. Circling. They had seen him. Tears filled Daniel's eyes as the rescue helicopter lowered, its blades chopping the air. Voices shouted. Hands reached down. Hold on. We've got you. Daniel collapsed into their arms, too weak to speak, but alive. Alive. Weeks later, Daniel sat in a hospital bed, wrapped in white sheets. The world outside moved fast. News cameras, reporters, people calling him the miracle survivor. But inside, Daniel was quiet. His eyes held a weight no one could see. He had survived the crash. He had survived the forest. But he would never forget the screams, the silence, the faces that haunted him in the night. When asked how he lived, Daniel only said one thing. Because I had no choice. The forest wanted me to give up, but I chose to fight. And that fight made him the only one. The lone survivor of a tragedy written in the sky. Thanks for watching. Please kindly like, comment your thought about this video, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.